Events are really there to address a bit of a shortcoming in the way that analytics works. So, you know, we were talking just now about whether, if you're just sat on a page, whether Google can see that you're there and, you know, moving up and down the page, and I said it can't. And the reason it can't is because, in simple terms, this is how analytics works. Let's say you've got 2 pages on your website, A and B. I come onto your website as a new visitor. Hidden in the top of the page, you've got the analytics tracking code. So I arrive on the page, that code triggers, and what it does, it puts a cookie on my machine saying that I've visited your site and at what time and various other bits of information. Once it's done that, analytics then goes to sleep. And it doesn't wake up again until I go to page B and I trigger the analytics code at the top of page B, which looks at my computer to see if I've got a cookie there already. It will see in this case that I have, and it'll go, oh yeah, so that was David on page A at 10 o'clock. It's now 2 minutes past 10. Therefore, he must have been on page A for the last 2 minutes. So it wasn't watching me and timing me while I was on there, but it's just deduced it from the fact I was next seen over there. So what I'm saying is basically analytics isn't monitoring you while you're on the page. It only wakes up every time you hit a new page, right? Which for most things is absolutely fine. Where it becomes an issue, and this is increasingly so as websites have kind of evolved in their slickness, is if there's something which happens on that page which is important and which you need to track, analytics won't know about it. So a classic example is, let's say you had on that page an inquiry form that people fill in. Now think about, so analytics won't see me fill that in, and equally it won't see me click the enter or submit button there. The way people used to get around this was in the old days. If I filled in an inquiry form, the chances are I would then go from page A to page B, which would be a thank you page, wouldn't it? Yeah, saying thank you for your inquiry, blah, blah, blah. So you could say to analytics, every time someone arrives on the thank you page, we can assume they must have filled that form in. All right? But of course, the way most forms would work nowadays is you'd fill that in, click enter, and you wouldn't go to a new page. The form would simply disappear, and the page would update to say thank you for your inquiry, which is slicker from the user experience, but analytics won't know about it. So that's one example of where we would need to use an event to let analytics know about it. Or if there was a PDF download on that page, if someone clicks that PDF link, because that doesn't open a web page, we wouldn't know it had happened. And that might be a really important goal for us. So the way we use event, what an event is basically a way of putting some extra code on that enter button or that PDF link or whatever it is. Just a bit of JavaScript code that means whenever someone clicks that, it actually proactively fires a message off to analytics saying, basically, wake up, something important's happened, this is what's happened. This is another example of one of those things I did right at the beginning, of making sure it's configured correctly for the needs of your particular website and your organisation. So when you're creating events, there's examples of kind of things that you would use them for. Videos, again, you might have a video on the page and you want to track when people click the play button or the stop button or the forward to a friend button or whatever. For each event, you can have a category. You can also have an action if you want. You can also have a label. Right. A bit like with the campaigns, they're entirely user-defined, but it makes sense to have a logical structure. And again, when you're reporting, it's up to you whether you just lump it all together and look at, for example, everything to do with video, or whether you break it down and say, I just want to see the number of people who click the play button on the video called video A, or whatever. Okay? And again, the more detail you have, the easier it is to lump it together rather than wish you could spread it out when you can't. Okay? So what you would do with this inquiry form, you'd basically come up with your scheme for it and say, right, I'm going to have a category called inquiry and an action called form submit or whatever. And then you say to your web developer, put event tracking code on that button so as it creates an event with those parameters. Okay.